Michael Matheson, Cabinet Secretary. Up to 10 minutes, please.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I'm very pleased today to provide an update on the second Strategic Transport Projects Review. The final report was published on the 8th of December last year. This marked the culmination of over 3 years' work by Transport Scotland and their consultants. I want to express my gratitude to stakeholders across the country, particularly those at local and regional authorities, for their input to this process since the outset, and also to the public and indeed our young people of Scotland who provided an excellent range of entries for the schools competition. It was also a great pleasure to meet and discuss the review with some of you pupils from Musselburgh Grammar and also from Stonyhill Primary School here in Parliament last month. The final publication of STPR2 represents a key milestone for transport planning in Scotland. In it, we set out a 20-year framework for capital investment to drive the change we need to reach our ambitious and essential net zero goals. The era where catering for unconstrained growth in private car use is now well and truly over. The majority of the recommendations directly contribute towards achieving a reduction in both emissions and dependency on the private car. While we won't be able to deliver them all immediately or all at once, I am pleased to say that we are already making progress on 38 of the 45 recommendations. Collaboration, stakeholder engagement and public consultation have all been fundamental and at the very heart of this 3-year process. Right from the very outset in gathering problems and opportunities to the detailed appraisal undertaken as part of the later stages of this work. Following publication of the draft report, which I announced to this Chamber a year ago, there was a statutory public consultation. 45 recommendations had been informed and tested throughout several previous rounds of engagement. As such, we were confident that the final consultation would be around refinement and affirmation of these, rather than suggestions for wholesale change. Of course, I was encouraged that this was the outcome. The consultation included 30 information sessions and attracted 424 responses. This invaluable feedback was considered in detail and fed directly into the production of the suite of final reports. I will now touch upon what STPR2 recommends. There are 4 key areas of investment that will help us make truly transformational change to how we travel in Scotland. These are decarbonisation of public transport, improving active travel infrastructure, improved connectivity in our rural and island communities, and mass transit in our biggest city regions. In the first of these key areas, we are pressing on with our plans to decarbonise Scotland's rail network and are building on the £62 million already awarded to bus operators last February for zero-emission buses. We are already supporting implementation of the vision for EV charging with the £60 million Public Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Fund that will draw in commercial investment so that the future charging network works for everyone. Providing greater opportunity for people to walk, wheel and cycle is our second key area. We want to work with local authorities to deliver ambitious active travel infrastructure projects. Our investment in this mode has risen significantly in recent years, from £40 million in 2017-18 to a record £150 million for 2022-23. Thirdly, there is a focus on improved connectivity in our rural and island communities, as well as significant investment in port infrastructure and strategic road connections. Our commitment to our islands includes investment in new vessels for Arn, Islay and the Skye Triangle. Furthermore, the review recommends the further investigation of potential fixed-linked connections at the sound of Harris and Barra and between Mull and the Scottish mainland. Our fourth key area is centred on delivering transformational change in public transport infrastructure. At its core, we plan to transform public transport across the Aberdeen, Edinburgh and Glasgow city regions by introducing a new mass transit system in each. This will offer a real alternative to the private car. Elsewhere, we will invest in rail, particularly between our major cities, and offer buses far greater priority on many routes in urban centres across Scotland. I know that there will be some who will be disappointed by the lack of inclusion in the recommendations of their favoured local rail or road projects, such as extension of the Borders Railway or construction of a rail line north of Aberdeen to Fraserburgh and Peterhead. However, it is also important to stress that there remains a route to consider projects not included in the 45 recommendations. On the basis of these demonstrating a robust business case and subject to appropriate funding being available. While I have been at pains to note that none of the recommendations involve increasing capacity for more cars on our roads, feedback from stakeholders has stressed the importance of a reliable and resilient strategic road network. Recommendations for our strategic roads focus on safety, climate change adaptation and resilience. For safety improvements, there will be a primary but not exclusive focus on rural sections, with exact locations to be determined by further ongoing work. Some recommendations include essential maintenance and upgrades, not least for the South West, where measures have been identified to address long-standing calls for targeted improvements on the A75 and A77, topics which have often been discussed in this chamber. The recommendations I have described represent an ambitious plan for investment for the next 20 years. However, clearly 20 years is a long time, and it is therefore important to remain agile in order to address needs that may arise or become more prominent. We had intended to publish a delivery plan alongside STPR2 to set out how and when each of the recommendations are envisaged to be delivered. However, due to the fiscal and budgetary uncertainty over the past few months, that has not been either practical or possible. The fact we are constrained by reliance on the UK Government for capital grant allocation, as well as our limited capital borrowing powers, has added to the uncertainty here. All of this has resulted in a decision to take more time to create a fully informed and accurate delivery plan. It will continue to be developed over the coming months, informed by the draft budget for the coming financial year, with intention to publish in the spring. Presiding Officer, I'm very proud of the vast amount of work that has gone into STPR2 and of the direction in which it is taking us as a nation. This is reflected in the supportive and positive comments we have received from a number of stakeholders, including STP, Sustrans and ScotRail. We know that change will not be easy for people to make, but it is why this review focuses on creating the infrastructure, connectivity and on delivering the transport modes that will help people change how, why and when they travel. Transforming Scotland's transport requires a cohesive national effort and a repositioning of the type of transport investment the Government makes. But by doing so, we can really deliver significant and lasting benefits for the people and businesses in Scotland, creating a Scotland that is less polluted, less congested and is healthier.
Thank you.